The views, opinions, and statements are that of the host and or guests. Therefore, are in no way a reflection or the views, opinions, or statements of Skydoor Entertainment. Skydoor Entertainment is in no way liable and does not endorse the views, opinions, or statements of hosts and guests. Hey, everybody. Welcome. AOP is in the house. We are here.
We got a great one tonight, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I've been so excited for this one, but first you have a huge couple announcements.
I do? No. What? Yes, number one is the Paracon that you have busted your ass getting together. She's getting all the credit. I'm just along for the ride. The Paracon that she has put together for October 7th. I keep wanting to say the 5th for some reason, but that's not right. Obviously. It'll be at the old YMCA in Rock Island, Illinois. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Our
guests on tonight's show are going to be there. So if you come, you'll actually be able to meet them face to face.
Yes. And the list just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. You can tell them the big one that just got taken care of.
Rick Hayes has signed on. He is going to give an hour-long presentation as well. For those who don't know Rick, he has been in the top 25 psychics in the country for the last 25 years, taking top honor of the #1 psychic in 2013 and 2014. So go to the Haunted Rock Island YMCA page. There's the event there, and there's daily posts about some of the great vendors we're going to have. We've got a lot of great teams signed up, and I don't want to name any now because if I name some and forget somebody, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to do it either. I'm going, no. There's too many, and I do not want to forget anybody.
Yeah.
That would break my heart.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, I suppose, yes, this is the second week. My book came out 2 weeks ago. Woohoo! So if anybody would like to get one, we have a thing that we'll put up here in a little while. It'll tell you if you want a signed copy, you would have to get them from me, and I prefer you get them from me. You can get them on Amazon, but you will not have them signed personally by me, and it is free shipping. It's $15 a book. And on top of that, by Monday, I should have everything together for my second book to be coming out. Mm-hmm. And I know I changed the title of it because it was kind of using the word death was a little too hard for it. So my second book it will be called Unexplainable Art: Passing of Colors.
Oh, I like it.
So it will be all in color to follow up the black and white book that I just put out. And if I say so myself, there's some, especially the stuff I've done in the last 4 days are just.
I've seen a couple and they're amazing. You know what, though? You forgot one of the most important parts about the Paracon.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't say most important, but the thing that ties to the show.
Yes. Skydor Entertainment will be exclusive to the Paracon. They will cover the whole thing. They will have a booth, and they will be covering all of the speakers, you name it. And Skydor is exclusive and will cover the whole thing and them only. So, yes, I'm sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
I had a
There we
bald
go.
moment. There it is.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. So mark your calendars, plan on attending, and come on out and meet all of these fabulous. There's so many. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
I'm going,
no kidding.
oh my God, I just can't wait to meet everybody.
And you get to meet us too. You get AOP will be there.
Yeah, yeah.
We will be there.
Should we bring him up? I'm just excited.
You want me to?
Bring up Larry? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. There he is.
Larry Eisler the third of Expedition Entity.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately,
glad to
Jen
have
was
you.
supposed to be here tonight, but she wasn't able to make it, so I'm flying solo.
You'll do good. Now you're just a beautiful rose all on your own, right?
Perfect.
No sunshine down in the basement, but that's okay.
Oh, so for those who don't know you, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, about your show, and maybe since Jen was going to be here, a little bit about Jen as well?
Sure. I started in the paranormal in about 2009-ish. I had just come home from my deployment and wasn't really doing a whole lot, and got involved on they don't really exist much anymore, but a web forum about the paranormal. And I spent a lot of time debunking stuff on the web forum. So as things went on, people, they can get a little mad when you debunk their stuff. So one guy's like, listen, I'm tired of you debunking all of my stuff. I'm just going to take you out somewhere to investigate. All right, sure, fine. He took me to Scott Mansion in Joliet, Illinois. And that was my very first official investigation. And I had a lot of things happen that I couldn't explain. So here I am. I'm still trying to explain it.
I love it.
I met Dan, who is my partner in crime in the paranormal, about 6 to 8 months after I got kind of started investigating. I went to a public ghost hunting event that he was holding, and I was probably one of 30 people, and I was the only one to stick around afterwards and pick his brain, and we've been working together ever since.
Oh, I love it.
So in the beginning it was all cemeteries and stuff that we could just go to right now and stay up all night and do whatever we wanted. And then in 2014, he kind of had this really crazy idea. He wanted to start a show. And at that time, I didn't really have very much editing experience. I had even less filming experience. But I'm like, well, sure. Why not? If they could do it, I could do it. It was bad. It was real bad. It was very rough. 2015, I think we filmed 8 episodes, give or take. Between 2015 and 17, we filmed 8 episodes. And then I decided to go to college at like 30. So
awesome.
But I couldn't do everything else. So we put everything on hiatus until just about the pandemic started. And everything was shut down. He and I started a production company to do commercial things. We had a lot of clients lined up for restaurants and product videos and stuff like that. And then all the restaurants closed because they couldn't make money anymore. So he and I were probably a month or two away from just hanging up our hat and being like, listen, we're done. We can't do this. And something just told me, listen, maybe we should try Expedition Eddie again. And I talked with him about it. I'm like, we got to go back to our roots. We've always done the paranormal. People always loved the paranormal videos we did on YouTube.
Mhm.
let's try again. And he agreed. And Expedition Entity is now coming up on its 15th episode. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
um,
Congratulations.
thank you. Along the way, in season 1, it was just Dan and I. Our third investigator, Steve, who kind of helps me as a camera operator, he did one episode in season 1. There's 6 total. There's 5 episodes that were never supposed to exist because there was 5 already pre-edited ones that one of the people that were in them decided they didn't want to be in them anymore.
Oh no.
So we had to reshoot 5 episodes in 6 weeks. And unfortunately, we couldn't make it work with Steve's schedule and our schedules. But in season 2, we brought him back. And in season 3, of course, too. And then in the beginning of season 3, we added Jen.
Mhm.
And the 4 of us are really knocking out of the park now. When it's always a juggle when not only investigating, but when you're filming a show of having too many people or having too few people.
Yep.
And I think 4 is our magic number.
Awesome.
So I'm really happy. Now for Jen, she does this with Expedition Entity. She goes and does stuff with us, but she also has her own thing called the Wisconsin Files. And you can find that on Instagram and TikTok. And I think YouTube as well. And she has this really funny like spoof skit series, the Ghost Hunter Extraordinaire, where she's kind of making fun of ghost hunting, but also like doing ghosts. It's hilarious. I highly recommend you check it out.
That's Wisconsin Files?
The Wisconsin Files, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then she also works with Justin from Visually Creeped, who is also on Paraflix.
Okay.
So she's kind of spread herself out to a lot of different areas, but we're very happy to have Jen with us, and she knocks it out of the park every time we've got her out in front of the camera.
Do we have the clip? Because I think you may have sent it. There was a clip with Jen. Luke, if you can pull it up. I think you sent the one.
There's 4 of them.
Let's just go ahead and should we just go ahead and throw one up?
Let's start with the BTS video because that one always makes me laugh.
Okay.
So this was from our newest investigation. We haven't even premiered it yet. You guys are getting the first look at just a little snippet of the investigation. And I'm helping Jen set up her microphone and everything, and she's gonna do an Estes session. So once she's set up and all mic'd up, like she can't see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So in this behind the scene video, I'm helping her with her mic. So let's see, where's your mic at?
Not where he should
Right
be.
there. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just punched you straight in the face.
That's fine. You wanted to punch me. I know. I understand. I'm a very punchable person.
Oh no, there's evidence.
I like it.
Pow, right in the kisser. 100% accident.
I love it.
But
I love it.
But she's very fun to work with. She's very funny. I do all the editing, so I film and I edit. But in certain situations, it's best to do solo sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in very few situations, it's best for a female investigator to be by themselves. When you're dealing with a traumatic female spirit, children's spirits, they tend to like female investigators more, right? So I'll set Jen up in front of cameras and we'll all walk away, and then she'll do something ridiculous in front of the camera, knowing I'm going to find it.
Oh, I love it.
And I'll just be like, what was that? So, but yeah.
I love it.
That was a funny one. And then the other 3 are straight from the episode. So eventually you'll see it when I'm finished with it. We could probably do these straight in order.
Another one up, Luke?
1, 3, and 4.
I think he should have it here. There we go.
Has anyone ever been killed in this room before?
Don't
Do you not want me to ask that question?
stop.
Okay. Is that a touchy?
Don't
Is that a touchy subject? Is it-
stop.
Okay. they really didn't want to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Where were you at? Can you say where you were at for that one?
I think at this point I can, because I'm gonna have the teaser, the trailer up by the end of the weekend, so it won't be a big deal. This place is called the Roadhouse in Oregon, Illinois, and it has a long traumatic history stemming back from the original owner getting murdered by his wife and her lover, to Al Capone ties with numerous murders, and then the most recent tied to a cold case, Ogle County's oldest unsolved murder of Mary Jane Reed and Stanley Skridla, where the last location they were seen was at this building.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the significant things about asking that question in that room is if you look behind Jen and I, there's a rubber pig hanging up. Well, under
Yeah,
the
I saw
rubber
that.
pig is the original blood drain.
Oh, wow.
So if somebody were murdered in this building and you had to hide a bunch of blood
Down the drain.
down the drain, you'd never know. So in asking if anything ever happened, they didn't want to talk about it, apparently.
And that usually means something happened.
Usually means something happened.
I love it.
We've encountered the spirit of the perpetrator in that building several times, and he'll shut the investigation down. Luckily, at this point, he wasn't there. But when he comes in, everything, like, it skirts out. Everything's done. Nothing will respond anymore. And then he'll come across and he'll be real angry, which in the episode, there'll be a time when he affected Dan and got like Dan's anger up, and he was yelling and shouting, and that's not how Dan is. And then after that, like, done. He left, everyone else was gone, the investigation was forced to be finished. So more than likely, I think they don't want us to talk about it, because then we're going to end up bringing him there, and then they have to flee. So but yeah, I got one more little teaser from that same basement, and then I got one from the upstairs, which is the one I'm excited for.
Awesome. Okay. If Luke can bring one of those up, and while he does, JD Hill says hello.
It'll be up.
Done.
Well, unfortunately, we're done too. So this is your last chance. Is there anything that you want to say?
Scare me.
I don't know if I can scare you.
Bum.
Okay. Thank you.
Impossible.
That was me. That was me.
Jesus.
I did scare her. I did
Yeah,
scare
you
her.
did.
So, but it's very interesting. It said scare me and impossible. I at the time I didn't even put it together. And then as I'm watching it back, editing it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Well, that's kind of strange. So that one makes me laugh too. I have that clip of just Jen jumping, and I sent it straight to her, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this all the time.
Makes you smile, that's for sure. Alicia says hi, and she shared this out. Thanks for sharing it out for us.
Thank you so much.
I would say on average, one episode is probably about 50 hours to edit, give or take. So any little bit that you can smile and laugh at helps a lot. Helps a lot. So
yeah, because a lot of people don't realize putting together a show like that, how much you have that maybe you can't use, but you still got to watch it to see if you did get anything.
Oh, my dog's barking.
Uh-oh.
On average, I'll say this before we watch the last one. On average, I would say our shoot is about 16 to 18 hours. Sometimes we're very lucky, and that gets to be over 2 days. Most of the time, a business doesn't want to shut down for 2 days. So we start at 10 a.m. and we finish whenever the investigation is done. And sometimes that is in the wee hours of the morning. So, in doing that, you end up with, 10 hours of video on several cameras. You
Oh, yeah.
have 10 to 15 hours of audio on several microphones, and then
Mhm.
B-roll and drone footage, nighttime B-roll, daytime B-roll, uh, and then the interview. It's exhausting.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, about 50 hours to edit everything, and I've gotten pretty good at it now for Expedition Entity, but it's still a long time.
Oh, no, you do a great job.
Thank
Great
you.
job. I love it.
Thank you. So the last clip I have to show here is my favorite because I've never seen someone do this. So I'm not saying we're the first, but it's the first that I've seen.
Can you tell Dan what number this is?
You.
I can't tell him. You have to tell him for me.
5. Move.
You want me to move? Do you still want to come and play?
Gone.
We don't have to keep playing if you don't want to, but maybe you could just tell Dan just one last time for me, please, that what this number was that we pulled tonight. Can you tell him?
Stop.
Okay, you want to be done? We respect that.
3. Stop.
Okay. I think
I'm
that's
done.
fair. All right, Mary Jane,
Stop.
thank you so much. So very much. We appreciate it. And
No.
So that was towards the end, obviously, because whoever the spirit was, they were done. But we pulled, I think, 4 or 5 cards, and through the course of the session we were doing, Dan guessed them all.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing the Estes. He was facing a wall away from Jen. She never said what the number was throughout the whole session. She would only say, "What is this? What number is this?" And it's funny because she makes that face every time he says the number. So I have little clips of her making that face going.
I love it. I love it.
But I've
Have you ever
never
played
seen
Go
someone do
Fish?
that.
Have
Go
you ever
Fish,
played
no.
We did that at an investigation once. I came up with the idea because at the YMCA, where our Paracon's going to be, there's a room up there and it had a bunch of tables. And I thought, okay, the husband has seen like Al Capone and John Looney up there. They had to have played cards. So we took decks of cards and placed them up like playing poker at each table. And we had necrophonics going and kind of did what game do you want to play? Go Fish came out clear as could be. So we actually played a game of Go Fish, believe it or not, and we kept a hand open for what would have been the spirit. And we had a team member, kind of working the hand without saying anything. And sure enough, it was calling out numbers. I mean, if they didn't have it in their hand, they were saying Go Fish.
Wow.
So we've actually played. We got to the end, and when the one guy won, they go, "Aw, Chris won," and it was. I love stuff like that.
That's nuts.
I love that clip.
I haven't seen people using cards like this, so I think to do that is really looking outside of the box for trying to establish ways to communicate. Everyone's about the new $500 devices that come out from Go Stop and whatnot. That's a $10 deck of cards. Your Go Fish deck, if it was a regular deck, was what, $5?
Yeah, this was just a normal like $2 deck of cards bought at the casino.
Yeah. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get amazing things to happen.
We made a birthday cake once. We did a birthday party at an asylum. They loved it.
Yeah.
Because it was different. And I can imagine if people are coming into your house or, where they're residing, it's got to get boring for them with everybody coming. Can you light this up? Can you turn this color? I'd get bored too. So when we came in with that birthday cake, just like your cards there, they probably got so excited for something different.
Yeah. And when I watch a fair bit of paranormal stuff, not as much as I probably should, but I mostly watch my friends' stuff. So when something comes up and someone's like, "Hey, you got to check this documentary out. It's totally cool." I'm like, "All right, I'll give it a watch." And sometimes people just ask the most boring questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same questions over and over. What's the name of the president? Like, really? Come on, be more original. You're trying to have a conversation here, to converse with them. And you know, that's why I love putting Jen and Dan together in front of the camera, because they investigate that way. They have these more conversational questions. So, you know, like with Jen, you know, she wasn't shouting out to the ether asking questions. She was speaking to the spirit that she just couldn't see.
Yep.
So
All good, Rex? His internet keeps freezing on him.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way we do it too, like having conversation just like we're having, because we had that at the Horridge house, just sitting around, hanging out, talking. We had so much activity in that half hour, sitting down, eating Chinese food.
Mhm.
The running of things across, you could hear kids running across the ceiling. It was crazy.
I just did an event at Broadhead Manor, which you know about Broadhead.
Yeah.
And
Love Bud.
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, give or take. Someone's filming a film there, a horror film, and it has a paranormal twinge to it. So they had asked to do an investigation, and Bill brought Dan, myself, and Mike Mening from I Am Paranormal to help him out.
Okay.
So it's the very last session that we're doing. We're in the principal's office, and Dan and Mike had to leave, so it's just me. And I tend to do best with speaker devices. So I brought my Phasma box out, which is very similar to the Necrophonic.
Mhm.
And I set the speaker up, and I put all these actors and the director on the couch going around the office there. And we're just, you know, trying to get things started with the principal. And it didn't really start picking up until I started picking on the people on the couch.
Oh.
So, you know, I one of the things that happened in our Broadhead episode was that the principal made Jen and Jenny feel nauseous. And
Okay.
our Jen almost passed out. If I wouldn't have caught her, she would have face planted the TV entertainment center. So I started asking questions about that. And I'm like, you know, do you want to make one of these ladies throw up? Yes. Okay. Do you want to make this one throw up? Do you want to make this one throw up? Do you want to make this one throw up? Yes. That's the one that's going to throw up.
Oh wow. And she she felt that way then.
It was very interesting because it didn't say anything for the other two, but right at the last one, the one that was visibly timid, it very loudly said yes.
Oh wow.
So, you know, you if nothing's happening, if it's stale, you got to mix it up, and you got to try these crazy off the wall questions that might be kind of fun for them to talk about. Had I known that they were going to say, yes, I want to make that 25-year-old girl throw up. No, I had no clue, but it sure made their night.
Oh yeah. Something they remember they're going to remember that forever.
Yeah. And then the director, who was sitting at the end, I was like, hey, listen, one more thing. When these guys are filming here, it would really help the director out if you could drain all of his camera batteries. And then the Phasma box goes, I could do that.
Oh, I love
Okay.
Broadhead is such an awesome location.
There's so much happening on all three levels of the building.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing is you're not interacting with the same spirits the whole time.
No, yep, you're right.
You know, every level has its own handful of spirits that like to be there the most. You know, in the first level, you've got spirits like Thomas and Elizabeth, Norman. You'll have a couple others kind of fly in, the janitor. The second level, you know, the bulk of the second level, you have the principal. And, you know, if you're in his office, sometimes it's great. Sometimes he's not even there. And then the third level, you know, there's the creepy crawlies that are shadows on the ceiling, and they'll walk across the doorway at the end of the hall, and a lot happens in that building.
we had the one, and it was the first time I had ever been there, was Spirits in the Spring. I had
Mhm.
never heard of the location until then, and it's like, how is that location not known? Because it is so phenomenal. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But my friend Stacy and I were up the third floor. I think it's the girls' bathroom up there.
Yeah. That
And
activity's been picking up in that room. Yeah.
she had a cat ball earlier that they had in the window, and they were getting interaction with it. And
Mhm.
I had been downstairs, and so I came up with her, and she says, well, I want to try to redo this and get it to happen again. And she went and sat in one of the stalls, and I'm like back in the corner, and I'm videotaping. So you get the side of the stalls and watching on that cat ball, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
All of a sudden you hear, she says, can you knock if you're here? And you hear knock, knock, knock. Well, it turns out Bill was telling us, because we went back a couple weeks later,
Mhm.
and he said, is it Susie or Elizabeth? There's a little girl, he said, that likes to play hide and go seek, and
Mhm.
she wants to be told to go hide.
Yeah, that's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
And
Okay.
then she'll knock when you find her.
I love it. And so we're wondering, is that who we were interacting with? Because then all of a sudden, the knocking after a few seconds, it went away.
Mhm.
But on the video, you can almost hear like a bunch of kids. You know, if you're at school and you hear recess going on outside your room, that's exactly what it sounded like. It was
Sure. And in our episode, right in the middle of the interview, I stop it and I go, are you guys like tapping something? Is the dog's tail, hitting the floor? Because
Mhm.
I heard thumping, but when I went back and listened to it, it sounds like a tennis ball bouncing on the floor.
Oh, wow. Very
There's
possible too.
there's so much crazy stuff that happens there.
Mhm.
With what you had mentioned, the cat ball, with the same group of actors, we were in the funeral parlor and I put 4 cat balls on the carpet.
Okay.
So you've got a carpet and you have a concrete floor. Nothing that any of us
Nothing.
do, even walking past it, is going to cause this ball to move, especially because it's on
Yep.
carpet.
Yep.
So, I'm on one end of the casket in the corner, Dan's on the other end in the corner, and everyone's in the pews. So there's at least 4+ feet between us and these cat balls.
Mhm.
And I kid you not, those cat balls lit up on the carpet.
I love it. Yeah, that's something had to be touching it, because there's no
Right.
vibration in there getting to
No
that.
vibration, it's not gonna like shift and roll because it's wedged into the carpet fibers. And you have to
Mhm.
really move those things to get them to light up.
Mhm.
But for some reason on the carpet, it did.
Something was
So
playing with it. Yeah.
something. And from what Bill has said, Elizabeth really likes playing with it because her favorite color is blue. And one of the colors in the cat ball is blue.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
That,
I
yeah.
was very fortunate to see that, because had I not seen that, I would have been like, a cat ball on carpet on a concrete floor.
Yeah, you got no strings. Okay, yeah.
So
Hi,
yeah,
Corey. Hi, Chris. Um,
wild.
yeah, and the janitor. He's something else there too, isn't he?
Oh, the janitor. Yeah, he likes to stay in his area. So the janitor is the
Mhm.
maintenance area. So his main hangout's the boiler room, which beautiful boilers. Bill's
Mhm.
had them cleaned up. They look great. They shine. They're also not used anymore, so they stay clean. But
Yeah.
he has the maintenance room in the back, the sump pump room, and that whole area. So when we had just brought Jen there for her very first time, she had just joined the team, and she's wedged between Dan and I in this room, and my back is to the sump pump room, which he wants nobody to walk into. So the
Yep.
janitor's like, this is my space, you stay out. Well, I've got my back to that door, and we're asking questions and we're getting great responses on the SB7. And then Jen goes, well, can I ask a couple questions? And Dan and I are like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Well, apparently the janitor didn't like that. So, from what we've been told, he's on the older side. So he prefers speaking with men. And he didn't like that, because as soon as she started asking questions, I was getting touched. And then it got to the point where it came to where I got grabbed like this up here on my traps, and then across the SB7 it goes fucking leave, extremely
Ooh.
clear. And I'm just like, I don't like this because everything is locked up, the muscles are all tight, everything is standing up, all the hair in my arms and everything. And yeah, you don't really want to mess with the janitor, because when he says he's done, he's done.
Yeah.
He'll let you know.
Rex just messaged me. He said he is trying to get back on. They were supposed to have fixed his internet today, and obviously they didn't. So
Sure.
we'll just keep flying solo.
Yeah.
Looks like Luke has another clip ready to bring up if
There's another
that
clip in
works,
here?
Luke. Is it a clip or a picture? Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
We decided, since we couldn't open the haunted house for the past 2 years, that we would change the second floor.
It's very cold over here. Is that you?
Yes.
Now, the other paranormal groups that come in are now experiencing different things getting stirred up, different things getting moved.
That was the principal.
Maybe he just likes a lot of control and a lot of order.
Throughout the different boxes and stuff, he wants to be called Sir.
And I think I'm gonna pass out.
They have her leave.
Don't fall, Jen.
I'm trying not to. Let me grab me.
Quit affecting my team members.
I'm so lightheaded right now.
Okay, I gotta get out of here.
All right, yes, go, Jenny.
Just said yes.
All
I
right.
feel like I'm gonna vomit.
I needed to tell you guys that, and then I had to get the f out of there because I was getting
yeah.
dizzy, and then I was like uncomfortable. It was almost like somebody was trying to like get inside of me, if that makes sense. And I'm genuinely scared. I'm shaking, and
Wow.
and I know she was.
Oh, yeah.
I could feel that radiating off of her.
I love it. I love it.
I'm the one that gave you the clip, and I forgot that I gave it to you. I'm like, wait, there's another one?
I think there's a couple more on there.
Is there really?
I think
How many
so.
did I give you? I know there's a lot of pictures. I
I
gave you a
think there-
ton of pictures.
I think there was one, if Luke can find it. And I think it was the one that you were talking about. Was it either in the boiler room or somewhere where I know Dan is in there too? And you had like you said, you had let her ask some questions.
I don't
She
know
got
if I. Right when I'm like, you know, I don't like this. I don't like this. She turns around and she goes, "My thumb," because something grabbed her hand, and oh, that was funny. Yeah, the way that she says "my thumb" always has me laugh. But
I love it.
I don't. Is there another?
Oh,
video
yep, he
on
does
here?
have another one.
Really?
Yeah. Let's go with it, Luke.
Sure. Which one is this?
Did he almost fall on his ass?
No, I dropped it. And I went,
Saved
Did you get
by
that?
the cord.
Did you get that?
Saved by the cord.
I just watched it go. I'm just like,
I know. I was waiting, and then all of a sudden, I was waiting for the clink.
Hey, Larry.
It's our first blooper. So this was from our last episode that just came out in April, the abandoned scout camp, and there ain't much left. We were in the mess hall, and most of the walls are gone, so it's just the open building. And behind us, there was like a raging blizzard. So we're investigating in I think it was January during a blizzard in an abandoned scout camp in the middle of a forest preserve. And everything was freezing, you know, like those icicles in my beard and all sorts of crazy manner of we should not be here. So we're finishing up, and I've got gloves on, and you know, you can't grab things well with your gloves. And I dropped the SB7, and I just watch it go. Like there's no attempt to try to grab it. I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. and it got saved by the aux cable. And I'm
Oh,
just like,
thank God. Yeah.
so I'm not in front of the camera very often. I'm usually running the cameras. So that was my first blooper.
See, I'm like you. I'm usually the one taking all the footage. So I'm never in 90% of it either, which is a good thing. But so one thing I always like
no
to
one
ask,
needs to see all this. They can look at the beautiful people.
what's your favorite location to investigate and why?
Well, I mean, I have to say Broadhead.
Mhm.
It's close, and it's only an hour and a half from me, so I could literally get off of your shore right now and drive up there and do a full investigation and then drive home, and it
Mhm.
won't take me very long.
Yep.
So that's great. The spirits there are all extremely friendly, as you've seen. So, as long as you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you and you'll have a great time.
Yep.
It has probably one of the greatest owners ever. In Bill.
Yep. Love
he,
Bill.
He makes that location what it is. So, having him there is the best. And then, it's one of few locations to where I would bring minors to.
Yep.
So it was a rather cold investigation, but there was one night where I brought my son, two of his friends, and then Jen brought her teenage daughter. And we had a teenage investigation.
Oh, fun.
And the principal left them alone. The janitor left them alone. They hung out with all the kids in the building.
Oh, that
And
had to be amazing.
they had a great time. All the kids enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. We had some weird things happen, which I haven't finished going through it yet, but I was recording just because you never know when I could use that footage. And
Yep.
Jen and her daughter were kind of leading for me. And there's a little thing flying around them on the camera. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not dust because dust is going to do this, or it'll get stirred up. It's not going to go around like this.
Yep.
And it was, probably, I think February, maybe March. And the building was like 20 degrees inside. So it's not a bug.
Cold. Yep.
Very
No bugs.
cold. And it was still very cold outside too. So there ain't no bugs in that building. Well, what the heck was it? I mean, dust, bugs, and moisture. Those are the three big things. If it's not one of those three things, I don't know what it was. So that was strange. And then Jen has one of those like Mondo-sized flashlights that uses the drill battery.
Okay.
And
Yep.
that thing will last like 4 hours straight, consistent use without turning it off. It lasted an hour at Broadhead.
I'm glad you said that because when we went in there the night before we left, like literally, I charged everything, had new batteries and everything that morning, even unplugging and packing things up. And we got there, full battery. 10 minutes later, battery's dead. I have one of those little camera systems, like a security system, with the hard drive. Put out the 4 wireless cameras. Never had problems before. Just going from the stage at the gym, even in the funeral parlor room, we couldn't get any signal. And I'm going, the system, I brought the system home, plugged it in, it all worked fine. So it's like, okay, they didn't want to be recorded that night.
100%. We filmed our first episode pretty much exclusively on the first floor. And we didn't really get very far into the first floor because we had to hit up the janitor's area on the second floor episode. But when we were in the funeral parlor, we were in there probably for a little bit longer than we should have been. That's why it ate up so much footage. But about halfway to 3/4 of the way through, Dan and Bill are sitting in the pews and they have their microphones on. And they both at the same time go, "Ugh," and get a chill to where like goosebumps and the hair standing up and all that stuff. Well, the building was 90 degrees.
Okay.
There's no chill in that building. This was an August investigation. So it was hot. So I didn't realize it till I got home. But at that exact moment where they get that chill, their microphones cut off and then the whole file back gets corrupted.
Oh, wow.
So it lost audio, but I could still tell where it stopped. It's just there was no audio
Mhm.
there. And
Oh,
it
wow.
stopped right when they got that chill. So,
Definitely something. Yeah.
and
I
then
love it.
some friends of ours, I believe it was Greg. They're out of Rockford. Chad and Travis were investigating with, I think it was an SLS, the stick figure thing.
Yep. Yep.
And they walked out of the room and it corrupted their SD card. And they
Oh,
lost
wow.
all the footage.
Then I don't feel so bad because I swore to God I turned on my recorder.
Mhm.
Nothing. It's as if I never turned it on. I'm going, I know this was on. Nothing.
Yep. They will play.
I love
Much
it.
to your detriment, they will play. And they know how to work this stuff. There's a lot of people that come in and they're like, hey, what does that button do? Let me push that. Uh-oh.
Luke, our producer, says I'd love to be able to try to recover one of those files.
The audio files?
Yeah. I said send in my recorder and say, here, try it. Or,
send them. I deleted them just because they're not huge, but when you're dealing with camera files that are like a terabyte in storage, every gig I can squeeze out, I need to squeeze out. So if it's not usable, it's gone. I got to get rid of it. So for those, I know I deleted them.
Next time you get one, let's send one to him. He's pretty good. See if he can recover.
Sure.
That's
one of those skills that I just don't have. You know, once it's gone, I'm just like, meh. You know, we usually film with 5 microphones. So every camcorder has one, of course. And then we have a room mic, and then everybody has their own designated recording mic. So it knocked out both of their individual recording mics that record internally into the battery pack. But we still had the room mic, and then we still had the camera mics. So, you know, I was able to piece it together, but
oh God, yeah.
Please don't mess with my microphones.
So the other question, and I'll ask since Rex hasn't been able to get back on yet, he always likes to ask, what's your biggest oh shit moment of paranormal investigating? Well,
I think it was that principal at Broadhead. But I already talked about that, so I'll go to the next one. And it's a moment that I witnessed that it didn't happen to me.
Okay.
This had to have been like maybe 2014-ish. So long time ago. Dan and I were at a location we call the Creepy Church. It's a fully functioning, active church. People go there all the time, but at night it is creepy looking. And it has a graveyard next door in the lawn there. So we were at the graveyard, and it has one of those the metal fences, and Dan puts his arms on top here, and his hands kind of go over the top rail of the fence. And all of a sudden, Dan gets grabbed by his arms and pulled over the fence.
Oh.
And the only reason he didn't go over is because I got hooked on his legs. But he was like waist completely over this fence. And it's yay high. So it's not like you can just lean over it. You got to jump.
Yep.
Well, he didn't. He got pulled. And after we left, he had red marks on his forearms here from the handprints that on his skin. And then 3 or 4 hours later, they were gone. Now, back then, we weren't too bright. So we went back a few more times. And on one of the times that we went back, Dan got an attachment. And it followed him home and then tormented his kids for a couple weeks. And it was a real nasty situation. The cool thing is, a friend of ours way back then, she would astral project.
Okay.
So I'm like, this is complete BS. She ain't gonna help us at all. That I didn't believe in that kind of stuff. I'm so iffy on it. It's weird. It's like I can leave my body and go somewhere else. That's strange.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
okay, you know what? If she wants to help, by all means, go ahead and help. So we're in his house, just he and I, and we have her on the phone because she lives in Washington State.
Okay.
So it's just feeding my this is BS. Literally the other side of the country. I kid you not, she's describing the house that we're in over the phone to us. And she's like, okay, I'm chasing into the living room now. And stuff is moving in his living room.
Oh, wow.
Those little twist rods on the blinds are doing this.
Uh-huh.
The blinds got smushed against the window. And he and
Oh,
I are in his kitchen. We're just like,
I bet. There's the oh shit moment.
what is going on? So finally she goes, okay, I push it into the basement. You know, I got it out. All you guys got to do now is just, you know, seal the basement up. Dan's recovering Catholic, so he does all the prayer and holy water stuff. I do, you know, the sea salt and the gems and the coins and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we get everything boxed up and we're in the basement, concrete basement now, finished concrete basement. And he goes, show us a sign that it's gone. And I kid you not, his house jumped. To where it felt like everything just went whoop. And I go, what the hell was that? And he says, I guess it's gone.
I guess it's gone.
So
this is gone.
That's our relationship. And I guess that's another oh shit moment. But yeah, that whole chain of events is all kind of one moment though. Because it all just kind of happened one after the other.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Luke says, please tell me there's a clip with the Benny Hill team. I don't know what you mean, Luke.
I don't know either.
I don't know. He'll comment back.
Okay.
God, yeah. Is there any location, like couple that are on your bucket list that, oh my God, if you were given all the money in the world and were told you can go to one place and investigate, where would you want to go?
So with where I'm at now, you know, I no longer investigate for the love of investigating. You know, I've done this for 13 years now. You know, there's very few things that make me go, wow, that was amazing. You know, it's mostly like, wow, that was actually really cool to see. So most of my investigating now kind of focuses around what we film. To where if I see something amazing while we film it, the investigator goes, yeah, I saw that. And the filmmaker goes, yeah, I caught that.
Yep.
So it'd have to be somewhere that I could film a documentary or an episode at. And if that were the case and money weren't an issue, I have to go with the cliche Gettysburg. That's a place that Dan and I are dying to go to. I have a couple things stashed away in my basement for little tricks and things I want to try out. But I'm not going to say what it is because I haven't seen someone do it yet.
Yep.
I haven't seen someone do it yet, so I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
So that one's the big one. And then I guess another cliche one would be a tour of Ireland.
Nice.
Dan has an old coworker from when he was a paramedic who is a doctor over there. And he, from what I believe Dan said, lives in a castle. So we get to stay in the castle, and then he has access to castles and other places. And he's like, you just got to get here and everything's on me. I'm like, Dan, we got to get there.
We got to go.
Come on.
Get an airline ticket.
Get a passport. We're going to Ireland. I'm wearing all green the whole week. But I've been hearing
an episode for you.
Yeah. But I've been hearing a lot of people say Ireland lately. So, you know, that one's probably a little cliche. So, and the idea of sticking with the lesser known locations, which is what Expedition Eddie's all about. It's historical, lesser known locations. I would have to say, the number one for me would probably be the Bad Axe Massacre in Wisconsin. Now it's not a building, it's like an area. So it's a part of the Black Hawk War actually, and we haven't gotten to this point in our book yet because trying to get time off with Dan is like pulling teeth. And you're up there quite a ways, and it requires several days of doing everything. So it's been tough. But the Battle of Bad Axe is what ended the Black Hawk War. So in 1832, Black Hawk crossed over the Mississippi in present day Rock Island, which is where Saukenok was, with the Sauk ancestral home city.
Okay.
Which is why I'm giving the Black Hawk War presentation at the conference.
I love it. Love it.
And they wanted to visit Saukenok one more time because they'll never be able to return again, is one theory. The other theory is that they wanted it back because they got hosed on the Treaty of St. Louis, which is true. They did. That's a fact. So the militia's like, listen, we can't have this. There's an untold number of natives. Some say a couple hundred, some say a couple thousand. We got to get these guys back across the Mississippi to Iowa, where we push them away. And lots of other things happen, and it ends up coming to the Battle of St. Louis at Stillman's Run, Battle of Stillman's Run in Stillman Run, Illinois, which is where Dan was just at with our new researcher Paige last night. And that's where the war officially starts. And it kind of snakes around northern Illinois, and then it dips into Wisconsin, snakes around Wisconsin. And then at this point, when they get to Bad Axe, they've been on the run for months. People are starving. The numbers are seriously dwindling down, and it's the end of the road. And at Bad Axe, they get to the river, the Mississippi River, and on the river are 2 gunboats. And as these Native Americans are fleeing into the river, the machines of the gunboats light them all up.
Oh, no.
On the shore, in the water, there's 2 little islands right in that area. On the islands, just mows them all down. Very, very, very few survivors. And somehow Black Hawk's one of them. And then he basically was a prisoner of war that was treated like a trophy, and he was paraded around, after they were defeated. But in Bad Axe, the Battle of Bad Axe, it was an absolute just massacre. But it is present day a campground.
Ooh,
which
that
means
would be a fun investigation.
The exact point where they were mowed down, there's 3 empty camping lots that if you get the right time and you can request those 3, you have complete access to the whole area that they were all gunned down and massacred. And if you could do it right, and you bring like a rowboat or something, just down the ways there's a little dock, and you can get in your rowboat, and then you go to the island where they stood and got massacred.
Oh wow. Okay, we're gonna have to set something up and go camping some weekend.
Yeah, so
that would be fun.
That's the spot where we really want to go. So much happened there, and they died in so many areas that it's hard to be like, okay, well, we're gonna cover all this in one day. Probably not.
No,
you probably won't.
A week.
Probably at minimum a weekend. So the plan is to go there and stay on the grounds first. Start where it's easier on the campground, and then work your way out into the water and see what happens.
Jamie says, hi, y'all. Sorry I'm late. At least I'm not too late. Hey, Jamie.
That's okay.
That would be a good one.
Yep. And then it'll work its way into the next book too, and that'll be beneficial. But
places that other people, not everybody went. I like going to the new, I don't want to say necessarily new places, but where you're not going in with any preconceived notion, well, I should have this happen because this happens to everybody.
Right. And that's a big part of why we do lesser known locations for Expedition Eddie, because a million people haven't been there. There's been so many locations where, a million people have been there, and unbeknownst to the owners, or whoever's running it, they do weird things. like they do cleansings or they summon things, whatever.
Mhm.
And then, I'm all for crossing spirits because spirits can then come back. But I also think that, you shouldn't do it behind the owner's back.
Yep.
It should be a conversation that you're having with the owner, and the owner should be like, yes, I want the spirit to cross over, because, sometimes this paranormal stuff is the only thing keeping these buildings from being torn down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you sage the building and seal it up and do whatever crazy stuff that you do, and all of a sudden the spirits take off and they're like, I'm done with this place, I ain't coming back. Well, you just got the building tore down.
Yep. Yep.
So you got to find a way to cross the spirit and be like, hey, you could always come back, you don't have to leave. And if you
Yep.
do it the right way, then it's beneficial for everybody. So,
Yep.
Bachelor's Grove is a big example of that. Bachelor's Grove used to be a great spot to go and talk with the spirits. And then every religion out there went and cleansed the place. And now it's just like
Nothing.
there's nothing here anymore.
Oh.
And I'm glad the spirits aren't stuck, but it's like, we don't know if they did it the right way. Did they push the spirits out without sending them across? Are the spirits just prevented from coming back now?
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
You never know. Yeah.
I just know that they're gone. And if they crossed over, they'd have the option of coming back. But they don't. And that's weird.
Luke says you need to go over there because most of the country is untouched.
Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be nice. Where's over there?
Luke, where are you at again? I'm sure he'll type it in here.
Because a lot of the battle sites for the Black Hawk War were lost to farmers.
He's in Wales.
Ah, okay. So yeah, a very rural area.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to locate by latitude and longitude battle sites that are in the middle of fields that are plowed over every spring.
Oh wow!
And it's like, well, I hope the bodies were really deep, or I hope they located them before it became a bean field.
Oh yeah.
Because in 1832, when you fell, that's your spot.
Where you were. Yeah.
That's your spot. And it was really neat for the two battle sites in Illinois, Stillman's Run and Kellogg's Grove, because they moved them into mass burials, and then they put the monument with them. Whereas when they originally died, they were buried right there, so they had to then go and find them all, and then put them lined up in the mass burial with their headstones.
Oh wow!
So
you've kind of been talking about it. We should touch on your books.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about you got two of them.
Sure. So we already talked about the Black Hawk War, so we'll start with that one. The Ghost of the Black Hawk War, the book that we've written, only covers the Illinois battles. So, like I said, not every battle site, massacre site, whatever, is accessible because of where it's at. Some of them, there's nothing happened, so maybe the spirits moved on. He wants nothing to do with where he died or whatever. And then others are extremely active. Mm-hmm. So the book, it kind of has a brief history of the battles, just enough so that you'll get an idea of what happened. And then in every site, the second half of the chapter is what we've experienced there. Awesome. So Dan did a write-up of the answers we got, the phrases, the K2 hits, things that were said that were significant that you wouldn't think would be significant. So, for example, when we were at Kellogg's Grove, Stillman's Run, at that point we were trying to find Major Isaiah Stillman's campsite, because that's where the battle started, but that wasn't in Stillman Valley. And we were just like, is it north? Is it south? Is it west? And then it goes, what did it say? It went northeast. So, I'm like, okay, tell me to stop. Stop.
Oh.
That way. So, we started poking around and doing more research, and the battle site is just about maybe a half a mile southwest of the campsite. So we just kind of went to Google Earth and went half a mile, made the circle radius, and then, gave it a little bit extra. And then said, we need to search in this area northeast. So we did more research, and they had stayed in a grove of trees. And then it was surrounded by prairie. Well, okay, well, we're looking for a hilltop that has some trees on it and surrounded by prairie. Well, it wouldn't be prairie anymore. It'd probably be farmland.
Farmland, yeah.
And what are the odds of finding trees on a hill anymore? The farmer might have ripped them all down.
Mowed them on, or plowed them down, yep.
Well, in the middle of one field, there is 3 trees on a hilltop. And it's just about in the right spot, in that little arch of extra space. Okay, so Dan goes out there, he takes his dowsing rods, he takes his daughter, who's got, the special voodoo hoodoo powers, and they start poking around, asking questions, and lo and behold, there's something there that wants to talk. And we do it a couple more times and find out, okay, this area was Stoneman's campsite. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So when you were here and the natives and you fought, what did they do to you? And on the SB7, it goes, scalped them.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is the campsite.
Yep.
This is it. So, things that, by saying northeast or stop would be insignificant if you didn't know what else we were doing. So, a lot of that stuff made it into the book, and we're going to be going back to some of the Illinois sites just to add more, just to try to get more information. And Dan goes to the Stoneman Run site all the time. So he's always making little notes of, on this day, we had this happen, and we'll add to the book later.
Nice. But
eventually we'll get to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin only has 4 major sites because the rest of the time they were retreating. They didn't stop and made camp. They just ran and ran and ran and ran. So, but for the Wisconsin part, the big part will be Bad Axe, because just so much happened. So we're looking forward to finishing that up. But the Illinois sites, they're currently out. The book's called Ghost of Black Hawk War. If you go to our website, small-town-paranormal.com, there's an about section, and then you can find the links to both of our books there.
Or if you're on the Sky Door page, you can go there. We got the link that'll take you right to that now. So
perfect.
You can hop on there. You're listed as one of the authors now. So anybody watching, you can click on there, go to the website, and get right into Larry and get his book.
Yeah.
And
now,
the second one,
you bought that book, right?
I wanted to. I was going to. Stacy had to run to the bathroom or something, and by the time we got back and I went to get it, you had everything packed up. So I said, I want to get one when you're here in October.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
You should have said something. They were literally just in the top of the tote. I could have just pulled one out.
Oh, now I wish I would. I didn't want to be one of those. Oh, well, I should have got it sooner. Now I want it, and
that's okay. Because I remember you mentioning something like, I just don't want to carry it. So
yeah, I just didn't want to carry anything around because
of you, I went and I bought 500 disposable handled like Walmart bags that say thank you on the side of them. And I'll be like, don't worry, you don't have to carry it because I have a bag for you.
There you go.
So never again. Now you don't have to carry the bag.
There we go. Yeah, got a bag you can put through a belt loop or something. There we go.
Right. Well, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, because there was like $20 for 500.
Oh, that'll last you a while. There you go.
Cheap. And they're black. They're great.
Oh, awesome.
So, well, when you do get that book, you'll have to let us know what you think about it.
Oh, definitely. I was looking so forward to it. And on the way home, I was telling Stacy, I said, God, I didn't get that book I wanted to get. And then I couldn't remember. I kept wanting to say Black Hawk. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, as soon as I say Black Hawk, I'm going to be wrong. And I'm going to look like that dumbass who doesn't know what she's talking about. So I just said,
it was Black Hawk.
Yeah. So tell me about the second one.
So the second one is technically more Dan's book than mine. The
Okay.
first one, I have an undergrad in history, so I did a lot of the history side, whereas Dan did the investigation side. With the second book, these are Dan's short stories that he wrote over a decade. And
Oh, wow.
we put it all into one book, and that's why it's called the Afterlife Anthology, because it's an anthology of his short stories. So with this one, I basically did the editing on it. So I cleaned it up. I did the proper punctuations and all that, quotations and all that fun stuff. So with this book, there's 16 short stories told from the ghost perspective.
See, I like it. It's different. Right there,
So
you got me sold.
so but they're all a little different. You know, some stories the person's alive and then they die and then they have to deal with it. Or they're alive, they die, they deal with it, and then they find out they're not actually dead. It was like just a moment in their head, but
Oh,
it
wow.
ends up being like, 6 months to them spiritually. Or other situations where they're alive, but a spirit does something. And I don't want to give too much away. And spirits change things for them to where they're still alive, but the perspective of the spirit changes how they view things. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the last story in the book is my favorite. It's called Double Jack. It's actually the first part of, he's got to finish the story. It's the first part of 2. And how do I say this without giving away too much? It's not from the ghost's perspective the entire time. It's from the main character's perspective, but the antagonist ghost is there the entire time.
Okay.
So I can't say too much more because that'll make it too obvious. But it is absolutely my favorite story. My favorite movies are noirs, so I love Sin City. It's my favorite movie.
Okay.
And every time I read that story, I just noir. This is a noir story. I love it. So yeah, 16 short stories, and from what we've been told by almost everyone that's read the book, there's always one story where they're like, this is my story. This reminds me of my dad. This reminds me of this situation that I went through. I really identified with this story. So apparently there's always one. So
now okay, I'm gonna have to get 2 books.
well, if you get 2, then you get the 2 book discount. So it works out.
There we go. You'll save me one of each for when you come if I don't see you before that.
Yeah, I've got a box of them. I got a bunch of cons in September. Although I don't know if I don't know if you're going to any of them.
Speaking of, what do you got coming up and where?
Okay.
I'll do it twofold. What do you got coming up and where can people follow you, like, all your different platforms?
Sure. So I guess we'll start with what's coming up. So we have, I want to say 7 cons that we're doing right now. And there was originally only 5 and it's grown. So we had Spirits in the spring. And then that went great. It was a great conference.
Yeah.
We were supposed to do the Michigan Paracon, but Dan's work ended up screwing him over, and then he lost his days off, so we had to pull out of that. We have SilCon in September. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be awesome. We have the Great Lakes Paracon in, I think, Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And then from what I remember, we're doing the investigation Saturday at the asylum or the school. I can't remember which one, with Adam Berry. So that's going to be kind of cool.
That will be cool.
And then the last weekend of September, I'm doing the Fort Wayne Paracon with Dustin Perry, and I think Grant is going to be there.
Very nice.
So, and then since we got all those scheduled, we added Eurocon in October. I'm now doing the Chris Fleming Con in Woodstock, Illinois. That's in July. Dan, I might be going to this one too, but there's one the same weekend of the Michigan Paracon, August 24th. That Saturday, there's the Rockford Paracon, the Illinois Paranormal Conference in Rockford. Our friend Kathy Kressel puts that one on. And we're speaking at that one. And then at the same time that Jen and I are with you, Dan, Steve, and I think our new researcher Paige are going to Dale Kasmerik's Con in Chicago, the
Oh, nice.
Midwest Spirit Fest.
Okay.
So
You're going to be all over the place. That's great.
be all over the place. I want to say there was one in June, but now I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember now. I'm sure there's one more. So there's plenty of opportunities to see us all over the place. We do have a conference image on our Facebook that I have to update. So when that's updated, it'll give you a better idea. But I think the next big one is going to be the Chris Fleming event in July. So I know that one I believe has limited tickets because of the capacity of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll check that one out.
Yeah,
Brandon Johnson says Larry Tour 23, keep rocking it, brother.
Let me tell you about Brandon Johnson here.
So
he does another show on Paraflix. His show is awesome. But this dude's photos, he has some of the best photos I've ever seen of all these locations that he goes to. I'm trying to think, what was the last one that I just saw? I'm gonna look it up here real quick. St. Albans. He just put out 7 hours ago. He put out a photo of St. Albans, and you know it's got this really awesome green electric-y looking font. He did the background in this really awesome cloudy sky and lightning, and yeah, all of his photos are the best.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. I love that.
Right?
Love
and then if you keep going, there's just so many more photos.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for cool stuff like that, you know, look up the Twisted Paranormal Society, and he just does such great stuff.
How far away is he? He can always come to our Paracon in October.
Virginia. So
Virginia, probably a little far.
But his show, Hometown Haunts, you know, if he does ever come out this way, he might be able to film something with you guys. So
that would be amazing. You know, like I tell you, Rock Island YMCA, just like Broadhead, so underrated.
Yeah.
I mean, the history there. I think I've shared some with you, the brothel, the speakeasy, all of that. It'd be a great location for somebody to do something in.
Sure. I'm really interested. I still have to look this up. On an overlay of where Saukenok was and where Rock Island currently is, to see what kind of overlay there is, to see what, if any, buildings line up with where this building is, the YMCA.
Ooh.
And to see if, you know, hey, is there anyone hanging around here that was from Saukenok that would like to talk to us? Because
very possible. That would be awesome.
You wouldn't think so, but a lot of them spoke pretty fluent-ish English. Because the Sauk worked with the British during the War of 1812. Black Hawk was a brigadier general for the British. He did most of his stuff in Michigan and Wisconsin, but he understood American fighting tactics because the British. He knew how to use a rifle. He spoke English, you know, and a lot of that's going to also come down to his band, which were natives of Saukenok. So, and they've also had, you know, 200 years of observing people speak. They probably picked a few things out.
Yep, so, I believe it.
You know, when I'm there, I'm going to be like with my SB7, like, hey, anyone here? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Yeah. Would you like a book? Sure. Here you go. So anyways, anyone here?
Yeah. Keep, you're going to laugh. Oh, no, you probably do it anyway. Keep a recorder going the whole time. You will be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll probably, I mean, even with people there, or take one, set it up on a different floor while you're there, and go back and get it before you're gone. There's so many.
It wouldn't surprise me.
There was the one room there where the mediums had deduced that they would take the ladies of the night and basically abuse them when they were done with them, kill them, throw them in a trunk, take them out a back door, load them into a hearse, right? They have static cams throughout the building, and the one right by the elevator shaft is the room where they said that these women would get thrown in these trunks.
Mhm.
You hear men's top voices in the background. You can't make out what they're saying. You hear a woman screaming for help. The door slam and it lock. And
Wow.
you got that
No,
on
did the
footage.
door lock or was it the sound of the lock?
Like you hear, it sounds like it's the door locking.
But
Now,
did
whether the door actually
Yeah.
locked, I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I think it just sounded like it
Yeah.
locking.
So then it was probably
But-
residual then.
Yeah.
That's wild. So what I'm feeling is after I help ACG do this investigation for your conference, we're gonna have a conversation about coming back down here with the cast.
Definitely.
And we're gonna say, hey, so we're gonna leave a recorder in this room. Well, why? Because something bad happened here and we might catch it.
Yep. Oh God, yeah. She catches so many neat things there. It's yeah.
One
Jen,
of the cool
I think
things
they
that
would
we
love
like to
Jen
do,
too.
one of the cool things we like to do for our show is when applicable, when we're dealing with an investigator, if they have stuff that they want to show, we'll put your stuff up too. You know, we haven't done it a bit actually, but the last time we did, we were at Conover Square.
Okay.
So it's a little bit north of Rock Island in Oregon, Illinois, very close to the Roadhouse. And the investigators there who were, you know, letting us into the building, they had a bunch of stuff that they had captured. So they had, you know, took the recorder out and held it, I think it was actually their phone, but held their phone to Dan's ear and listened to it so Dan can get an honest reaction to it. And then for the episode, I just took the audio out and then put the real recording audio in so that the audience could hear it too.
Oh, awesome.
And then, you know, you line it up perfectly so that when the recording ends, then it goes back to Dan's microphone and he goes, wow, that was wild. You know, and you know, we've been able to bring in video clips, audio, photos, you know, anything that someone's like, hey, I'd really love for you guys to show this. You get your lower third credit too. But you know, it just helps say like, this is a great place. This is what has been caught in the past. Hopefully you guys get as lucky as we did. So if there's anything that she wants to show us we film, you know, we'd be down to show it.
I would be shocked. When that whole thing that we can't speak about happened, because if we do, they kick us off the air.
Oh,
that was like a second home to the hubby and I, because like you with Broadhead, it's an hour and 15 minutes from our house. So we spent almost every weekend down investigating with the owner. So we had so much fun at that location that every time we've been there, something, I can't say I've never been there and had nothing happen.
Sure.
So I think it'd be, if it works as good for you as what it does for us, it's a filmmaker's dream.
I think it would work fantastic. The hard part is scheduling, but if we can get past the scheduling hassle, then it's all easy. But
Luke says he'll be running around the Paracon interviewing everybody there.
Sweet, come and say hi.
And Brandon says he's always down for a road trip, so maybe we'll have to talk him into. Wouldn't that be fun?
Telling you can get Hometown Haunts there and get them to film something, or he'll do something on the side. I don't know. It's up to him, but he does a great job on his show. And then we'll come in and we'll do our little focus, how we do things, you know, and you'll get 2 great videos.
Oh, Lisa would love it. Lisa's just like Bill. Though Lisa and Bill have got to be 2 of the nicest location owners I've ever met, going to the different locations.
The ones that I frequent are all great people. I've been to several where you're like, you're not doing this for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You're charging $1,000 a night. Okay. Yep. All right. I get it.
Yeah.
You're in this for the money. So we tend not to go to those ones if we can help it. Now, if it includes lodging, I'll pay $1,000 all day.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 of us in the show, but one female. So she gets her own room.
Yep.
And then Dan and Steve get a room, and then I get a room because I have all the equipment that has to be charged and downloaded. And I'm up all night long, and I'll keep whoever's in my room awake. So, you know, if we start recording Friday, we need a Friday night room and a Saturday night room
Yep.
for 3 rooms. That's a lot of money.
Yep. So you're better off.
We're
And then you don't have to move your equipment. It's all right there.
all
And
right there. Yeah, just pull a battery and a card, leave the rest in the boxes.
yep. And Lisa's
Oh.
amazing. You can stay right there at the YMCA. She's a furniture store. So she's got a mattress, literally 2 or 3 rooms that are all filled with mattresses. So
See, I'm sold already.
she doesn't provide the sheets. You bring your own sleeping bag or bedding. You got the bed. So you got these like top of the line mattresses. You sleep like a baby. Well,
Done.
if the residents of the building let you sleep like a baby, you sleep like a baby.
I did a documentary with Nat from ACG Paranormal.
Love her.
I think it's coming out soon-ish. Sounds of Spirits, which awesome idea. It incorporates music into the paranormal and you know, another thing where it's like I've never seen that before. So she's got a great idea going with this. The day that we filmed everything, you know, it's kind of the same thing. You got all the interviews, you got the B-roll, you got the drone, and then the investigation. Well, the investigation wrapped up at like 4 a.m. And then we had to start at 7 to get the morning after shot. So, you know, 4 to 7, the very narrow window of sleep. And then after the morning after shot, I had to go to college to teach class. So it was a very long couple days for me. So Bill lets me stay in his condo, and I'm laying in the second bed in his condo, and I'm just can't fall asleep. It's one of those like I have to go to sleep, my body won't let me.
Yep.
So finally I start falling asleep, and then I feel something crawling on the ceiling.
Yep.
And I look up and I just see stop it, please. And then they jump on the bed and they run around the room, and it's just like, just stop. I have to get more than an hour of sleep. No, all over the place. So
we had that at the Horridge house. And it wasn't because I was scared, but I spent the night in the sleeping bag, like just my nose peeking out, and every now and then my eyes, so I could peek at Rex on those Rex. You got to know I forget how tall, 6 something, and he's on this little love seat, all curled up on a love seat. So that itself was comical. But they were, pulling the hair, playing with you, tickling you. It's like, come on, let me go to bed for at least a couple hours. Nope, there was no sleep that night.
I hate when they sit on the bed by your feet, and then you could feel your feet drop. And it's just like, stop it. Go away.
Derek, that happens to my husband. He just says, leave me the fuck alone. And boom, they go away. They leave him alone.
Yeah.
Me? No.
That's funny.
We got 2 minutes left before they cut us off. Is there any messages, anything? Sum up Larry.
Well, I'm a director and a cinematographer, and sometimes I do paranormal and sometimes I do other stuff. But the paranormal is where I like to be. It's kind of my feel-good spot. Primarily, you can find me on Facebook. I've got the little blue check mark, so it's easy to find me. You got to use the third. Otherwise, you'll find my other account, which I don't do paranormal on at all. So don't add that account. It's got to have the suffix. I share all of our stuff on there. But if you want to find Expedition Entity, you can find Expedition Entity on Facebook under the same name, Instagram, Twitter, all under the same name, and then Paraflix, which is Expedition Entity as well. It's pretty easy to find us on there. And then we have a link tree, which I'm actually I'll put in this little studio private chat we have here. I should have gave it to you earlier. The link tree has all of our links on it. So it has the links to the Broadhead video that we showed here, us on Paraflix, our IMDb, the Facebook, Instagram, our merch store. And then it has all of our cast Instagram. So you can follow Jen because she does all her Wisconsin File stuff. Steve does Screw City stuff, which is like a Jeep thing. If you're into Jeeps, he's got an awesome Jeep.
Okay.
I primarily don't use Instagram much, but I have it. Dan's all about Instagram. So he does a lot of outdoor survival, knifey type stuff. But yeah, pretty easy to find us. So, but I'm always available on Facebook. I'm mostly on Facebook. So if you see a post and you want to chat, either drop a comment, shoot me a message. You know, Kandi, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Pretty easy to get a hold of. And it looks like that does it. And it looks like poor Rex didn't make it back for us. So I know he always says give everybody a hug because it doesn't cost anything and it makes everybody feel good. And he tells everybody peace and we love you and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
If Luke is still there.